crossing from upstate New York into Pennsylvania, we continued to enjoy the autumnal displays along our route. We passed through the state of Pennsylvania reasonably quickly, pausing only to spend time at Leonard Harrison State Park, where we watched the morning fog lift from the Grand Canyon of Pennsylvania. Taking the lesser travel roads, the next stop on our journey was Blue Ridge State Park. This state park is the home of an old steel constructed railroad bridge that was destroyed a number of years ago by a tornado and has since been turned into a skywalk. The original bridge steelwork has been left exactly where it fell. We crossed the Pennsylvania state border heading south and spent our first night at Shenandoah Lake Campground. Now, Shenandoah Lake Campground is in the George Washington National Forest in Virginia. Yes, well, I was going to say that, thank you very much. We made a reasonably early start and left the campground and its lake to join the scenic drive called the Blue Ridge Parkway. I'll let my friend here give you a little more info on the Blue Ridge Parkway. Right, couple of things to explain then. The Blue Ridge Parkway is as we said, 469-mile road, runs pretty much on a ridge. So you've got views out both sides at various overlook points. But everything works on mileages. So mile 0 is the start, and then all picnic areas, hikes, viewpoints, visitor centres, campgrounds, everything is listed in the guide as mile point number whatever. So we started at mile point 0, the sign for the Blue Ridge Parkway, and we drove the first 10 miles. 5 miles in is the Hump Rocks Visitor Centre. We called in there to collect some maps and guides and information, and then we took them to Lake Shenandoah Campground and spent the day yesterday doing some research. And then today we have rejoined the Blue Ridge Parkway around mile 10, and this morning we've just driven here the first 7 miles of the journey. We did just have a car go past, but I have to say at the moment, the road seems quite quiet, which is lovely. Beautiful day, sun's out, it's a bit fresh, but then we're around 2,500 feet. The elevation on this drive varies quite greatly. I think at the highest we're around 6,000 feet, and there's other points where only a few hundred feet. But the thing I love more than anything about this drive at the moment is there are no stop signs, no traffic lights, no junctions at all. It's just a constant maximum speed of 45 miles an hour. So you just flow smoothly. Beautiful. We continue to flow smoothly, taking our time to enjoy the scenery and learning about the area along the way. Our first fun fact came at 20-minute cliff. Okay, Grizzy. Before we leave here, give me your first fun fact of the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Okay. In June and July, during corn chopping time, this cliff serves the folks in White Rock community as a timepiece. 20 minutes after sunlight strikes the rock face, dusk falls on the valley below.
That's very good.
Thank you.
You're not reading it off this sign, are you?
Certainly not.
Anyway, onwards and upwards, on to the next learning opportunity, this time at the old logging railroad. Okay, Blue Ridge Parkway, fact number 2. This is the old logging railroad. Early in the 20th century, lumber companies built narrow gauge railroads far into the mountains. This railroad, which was 50 miles long, carried more than 100 million board feet of logs to the mill. It was built in 1919 and a section has been reconstructed here.
By late morning, our little brains needed a break from all the fact learning, so we pulled in to the Boston Knob Overlook.
Chrissy, what are you doing?
I'm doing breakfast. I'm hungry. It's nearly 12 o'clock.
What are we having?
Overnight oats and fruit and nuts.
Oh, where's the unhealthy stuff?
What, like chocolate?
Yeah.
Doesn't go well with breakfast.
Oh, well, you'd be surprised. I saw somewhere the other day that they sold chocolate bacon.
Oh, no.
No?
No, thank you.
Well, while you're doing that, can you just throw my way another fun fact about the Blue Ridge Parkway?
Well, I'm sure you'll correct me if I get it wrong, but
Be unlike me.
the Blue Ridge Parkway is one of America's most scenic drives,
Right.
and it's within half an hour drive. No, is it half an hour or half a day?
A day.
Oh, it's within. Oh, that's it. It's within a day's drive of half the population of the US.
Yes. Would
Oh.
you believe that?
I nearly got it right.
You couldn't believe that, could you?
I know.
Over half the US population
Yeah.
lives within a day's drive of the Blue Ridge Parkway. It had over 14 million visitors last year.
Really?
Yeah. And now, and so given that, well, it has so many visitors, and it's near to such a large population of people, I think we're very lucky to have it quite quiet. The colours are not yet at their peak here. I think in a few weeks' time, couple of weeks' time, 2 or 3 weeks, these will all be coming out and the scenery around here will be fantastic, and then the traffic will really start, I think. But we're very lucky right now. We're very, very lucky to have the place as quiet as it is.
Not many leaf peepers around.
Feeling refreshed, we made our way back onto the Blue Ridge Parkway, and Chrissy was pleased to be able to quote facts that she could actually read.
Can you give me a fun fact
Oh my
about
God.
tunnels on the Blue Ridge Parkway?
Okay. There are 26 tunnels on the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Yes.
And because of the elevation and the ruggedness of North Carolina,
Yes.
25 tunnels are in North Carolina
Okay.
and 1 in Virginia. And here it is.
Not many miles after the one and only Virginia Tunnel, we were
Over the James River, one of the major, if not the major river in Virginia, and we are under the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Ah.
So this is the James River Bridge over the James River, and we're just wandering over here because apparently there's a lock and canal exhibit just on the other bank there.
Let's go.
Although the exhibit was not the most breathtaking, it did nevertheless give me a chance to read a fact out loud.
Come on then, inform us.
Well, this is the Battery Creek lock that was in operation between 1851 to 1880. It was built in 1848. It's 15 feet wide, 21 feet deep, top to bottom, and 100 feet between gates. It lowered or lifted boats 13 feet allowing them passage to and from the river. The bottom is covered with original pine planking and walls are of local stone.
Oh,
Anything else?
no. Well, let's go to the next board.
Oh, this is as it may have looked. It might not have looked like that, but it
No.
may have looked like this. After a few more miles and a couple more scenic stops, our first day on the Blue Ridge Parkway came to an end. And our home for the night was the campground at Smith Mountain Lake State Park. Today started much like any other day, with Chrissy kicking me out of bed to make her a cup of tea. What tea are you having?
I'm having
Earl Grey. Okay, one Earl Grey. While he's making the tea, I was going to explain how we should have spent the night at the Peaks of Otter campground operated by the National Park Service, but how instead we came to stay at Smith Mountain Lake State Park. But it appears that His Lordship wants to do my job as well, even though he doesn't do it as well. Tea's up! Well, good morning, and welcome to not the Blue Ridge Parkway. We did follow our plan yesterday. We ended up at Otter Creeks. See what I mean? I'll cut that, start again. We ended up at Peaks of Otter campground, which is a National Park Service run campground, and I have to be honest and say we weren't very impressed with the campground. We did a couple of loops around it, tried to find a nice site and struggled really. So we did what they suggest in the guide, the Blue Ridge Parkway guide, which is to actually branch off the road and go and explore local communities and neighbourhoods. And we've come here to a Virginia State Park. It's called Smith Mountain Lake State Park.
Mm-hmm.
Smith Mountain Lake State Park. Very lovely, beautiful site, and it's so beautiful we've decided to spend 2 nights here. And we'll rejoin, for those aficionados of you who are worried that we're skipping parts of the Blue Ridge Parkway, have no fear. We will be rejoining the Blue Ridge Parkway tomorrow at the point which we departed from it. So we will still have travelled the full length of it. It's just that we're doing this extra little side trip. This campground here is probably 30 or so miles from the Blue Ridge Parkway, and it took us through the town of Bedford in Virginia, and we will be driving back through there tomorrow, and we hope to go and visit a D-Day memorial. We saw the signs for it, where we have no information on it at all. We're just going to go and see what it is. It seems a strange place for a D-Day memorial, but we shall find out. So tomorrow, once we leave here, D-Day memorial, bit of shopping, got to stock up. I think tonight is our last meal that we've got.
Yeah.
And then rejoin the Blue Ridge Parkway tomorrow. But first, today, we are going to walk around the area of land that this state park is on, and that should be around about a 6-mile hike. And as soon as we finished our coffees
And tea.
we'll be off.
What you want me to say?
We'll be going. Okay, so with the aid of this very useful map, I'll give you an idea. This is the campground that we're staying on, and this morning we've walked down this path here. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to interrupt him here. He's about to go into great detail of the hike we were planning to take, but to cut a long story short, we ended up doing a completely different hike. That should keep us busy most of the day, and with a bit of luck, we'll see some wildlife. Well, we didn't.
But we did see a lake with some trees, a swing located where a homestead used to be, some more trees, and then an actual homestead hidden away in the trees. We then stumbled across a couple of gravestones not far from the house, which we assumed belonged to the original homesteaders. The rest of the day was spent back at camp planning our return to the Blue Ridge Parkway the following morning. We woke this morning to a beautiful sunny day. So after I had satisfied Chrissy with her morning cup of tea, we headed north, passing through Bedford, Virginia. I would like to have told you about Bedford, but as usual, his Nibs insists on doing it, despite a number of interruptions and his inability to say the name of last night's campsite.
So welcome back to day 3 of the Blue Ridge Parkway, albeit that this is actually only our second day on the Blue Ridge Parkway. Yesterday we were at Smith Mountain Lake State, I can never say it.
Smith Mountain Lake State Park.
Well done, thank you. That's where we were yesterday. We did that hike in the morning and had a lazy afternoon.
Hold on. Lazy afternoon. Hold on, wait till he goes. Oh no, there's a van coming.
Yeah, because we're stood here, everybody comes in and thinks something exciting's going on.
You're in it!
There we go.
God.
Thank you very much. Well, I never know how to take that.
They're just being friendly.
They are being friendly.
Oh look, there's a bald eagle.
All there is.
Look at his little tail.
Ooh.
So, how did you get on?
If it's not people in vehicles stopping to tell us we've got a sick rig, it's a bald eagle coming past interrupting our video. So this morning, just to get back to where we were, we left Smith Mountain Lake State Park this morning and drove north a little way to Bedford, Virginia. We did a few tasks there. We did wash the car, did some shopping.
Went up to the memorial.
Visited the D-Day Memorial. We didn't do any filming there in respect of the...
What would you say, the fallen?
Yeah, we showed some respect. We didn't film there.
No.
Whilst we're pretty familiar with the story of D-Day and the events that took place on that day, I was just very interested to understand why Bedford, Virginia would have a D-Day memorial. And apparently Virginia is the state that had per capita the most number of, or the highest number of fallen troops from the states. So they have there a memorial which, as I understand it, is visited by people from all over the states. Mm-hmm. So we spent a little time in Bedford this morning and then drove about 10-15 miles north from there to rejoin the Blue Ridge Parkway at Peaks Otter, which is where we drove off it a couple of days ago. And we've been steadily working our way south since. Today we are skirting Roanoke, staying on the Blue Ridge Parkway, skirting the town of Roanoke, and we will end up in another state park tonight called Fairy Stone State Park. We have booked campgrounds for tonight and tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is another state park, Stone Mountain, I think it's called Stone Mountain State Park.
And the only reason why we've done that is because it's the weekend and they get full.
Yeah, everywhere gets pretty busy still. I mean, we're in our shorts here today. I would show you below the waist, but you wouldn't want to see it.
Is that just me?
Well, either of us, I don't think. If you can see below the waist, I shall crop this by the time it's shown.
Well, that's enough of that nonsense. And let's get on with the rest of the day. Because we didn't know it then, but there was going to be a lot to see. Except, of course, at the one place where we should have seen something.
What you doing, Chrissy?
This is meant to be a good area for broad-winged birds,
Hawks.
peregrine falcon,
Okay.
bald eagle has been spotted here, but all I've seen is turkey vulture, and I've seen a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, it turns out that Chrissy isn't wrong. This is a known spot for hawk migration, and one of the most interesting facts here is that during mid to late September, it says that visitors to this site might see as many as 1,200 birds in one day. Not sure where they are today. So here we are, looking at the Blue Ridge Mountains from the Blue Ridge Parkway. Looking down into the valley on one side of the parkway, and if I swing you around here, you can see the view in the valley on the other side of the parkway. So the Blue Ridge Parkway really is on a ridge.
With views in all directions, there are plenty of places to stop and take it all in. Virtually all of the overlooks have a name, and a significant number are named after one particular feature.
There you go, Chrissy. Another knob.
You know what? I don't think I've seen so many knobs since we were on that nudist beach in France.
This is what is known as the Great Valley, and it extends through the Appalachians from New York to Alabama. And here, right here, the valley is confined by the Alleghenies on the west and the Blue Ridge Mountains on the east. The Great Warrior Path of the Iroquois and Cherokee was used by the Scottish, Irish and German pioneers from Pennsylvania when they migrated down the valley to settle in this area back in 1730 to 1750.
And if you thought, he's reading that, then you would probably be right.
Well, we're coming to the end of day 3 on the Blue Ridge Parkway. In just a few miles down the road, we will be turning off the Blue Ridge Parkway and travelling about 10 to 15 miles across to our campsite for tonight in Fairy Stone State Park, Virginia State Park. It's been a really pleasant afternoon. The weather's been fantastic. We've been on the lookout for wildlife, and we did see a bit, but we also saw something we really wasn't expecting.
I've got more, but I'll look. Thank you.
All right. Now, by the authority invested me in the Commonwealth of Virginia, I now pronounce that you are husband and wife. I think you know what to do.
Being so close to such a special moment must have had an effect on me, and given that we were in Virginia, known as the Lover's State, I thought I would try my luck.
I was just thinking, while the vicar's here,
No.
should we save a bit of money?
No.
Why not? No.
Not very romantic, is it?
Why not?
We haven't got our mics on.
Feeling extremely rejected, I continued on bravely to the final scenic view of the day. Shortly after, we left the Blue Ridge Parkway and headed for our campsite for the night, where checking in proved to be a little more tricky than we had anticipated.